Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And I'm thrilled and delighted to be chatting with an actor, a singer, also a school teacher at one point. We have so much to ask about. The delightful Robert Bannon. I'm going to first tell you just a little. I think I just told you a little bit about him, but if you've seen him on TV, it's because for 4 years, he's been something of a contract player on the Saturday Night Live television program. Plus, he's got a new album out. Plus, you can go see him at the Green Room next Saturday. So much to... I don't know why you're playing on Shabbos, but it's after sundown. It's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Robert Bannon. Shalom, Robert!
Hey! Hi, Rabbi. How are you?
Well, your prostate's hurting, and I got ear hair that I can't get to. You ever have that? It's horrible.
Yeah, well, it's a sign of I'm 30, I'll be 39. And as I've gotten closer to 40, what is with this is how you start an interview. I'm sorry, I apologize. Nose and ear hair.
Well, honestly, I asked Sharon Gless and George Clinton about enemas. So this ear hair's nothing. Ear hair's nothing compared. You ever have an enema?
I have. George Clinton's definitely had an enema.
Oh, so, yeah, well, he's written songs about these things. That's why we brought it up. But Sharon Gless, it just came out of almost nowhere, which is what she said about her tuchus. But why did you ever have to have an enema? Why? What happened with you?
You know, I was really sick in high school as a kid. I had meningitis caused by chronic Lyme disease, and I ended up leaving school. So not only did I have an enema, I also had those like colon cleansing. What are those things called? Where they like shove water up yourself?
Well, yeah, the bulb. And so what did that have to do with having Lyme disease?
Well, because
you add more lemon and balance it out.
My little, our Italian Catholic, my little Italian Catholic mother, Rose DeMeglio, Fort Lee, New Jersey, is a holistic little lady. So she thought that one of the holistic doctors told her that you need to cleanse yourself to make sure you don't have any. So nothing's cooler in high school than to go for a colonoscopy or a colon cleansing or an enema.
Well, this is why they call it holistic, because it's going into the hole.
In the hole. Right in the hole.
Out, yeah. I don't even know what we're talking about here. This is Robert Bannon.
Hi, welcome. Not only it's the best way to spend a Saturday morning.
Isn't it?
Welcome. Yes, agreed.
So, let me ask you, let's get serious.
It's cheaper than telehealth.
By the way, what we're doing right here is cheaper than telehealth. Look at this. I saved you hundreds of dollars right now.
That's true. I feel so much better.
So, now I am curious though. Do you know how you got Lyme disease? Were you in a mountain somewhere and picking flowers? What the hell? Where did that come from? Do you know?
Well, I'll try to segue this into something serious. I was in high school. I had swollen knees. I woke up really sick one day randomly in 9th grade. I was trying to do the high school production. I was at Juilliard Preparatory School at Lincoln Center, trying to become a musical theater actor, and it knocked me for a loop for over 3 years. I was misdiagnosed for over a year. I was out of high school. I was in Baltimore in hyperbaric oxygen chamber treatment, which was actually experimental at that time, but not from the holistic doctor, just the and I stopped singing, and I stopped completely doing everything that I was doing. I was doing shows at the Beacon Theater and at Madison Square Garden, doing musicals and commercials, and really trying to build a career as a performer. And then when I was 18 and finally was fully better and tried to get back performing, I went on my first audition. They called me in for Rent, and I botched the audition so bad that I went to college to be a teacher, and I gave up singing and acting because I was so lost. I was so confused. All of those years that you grow up and you learn who you are and what you want to be, and everything. I was not in school, and I was very not social, and I was living a whole different type of life because of being sick. So it took me a long time. Hence the album's called Unfinished Business, because I came back to music and acting 15 years later. I hadn't done any of it. I just taught the 5th grade.
Well, I mean, it's such an amazing journey. Most actors, they suffer, but they keep working. They're off Broadway, or the Straw Hat National Tour, and then a little bit of this, and suddenly, finally, they get a career going. With you, it's like, stop,
Yep.
teach, Let me try this again. Oh,
Yep.
boom. And now look at you. Look at you.
Well, we're trying. But thank you. I'm so grateful. And I think I've learned that everything happens in its own time for its own reason. It didn't make sense for a really long time, but I guess now I have something to say, and I encourage people, unfinished business become a mantra, because it's not just, and I saw your joke about unfinished business and it had me dead. I was,
But one thing that confused me that you said is that you had this horrible audition for Rent. That, but you were in Rent somewhere. It's in one of your credits.
I did a production of Rent. I went in, they wanted me to be Mark, which is the guy who plays the guitar and he's like the rock, when I was a kid, this rock guy, and I had to sing the song One Song Glory, and the song One Song Glory has 8,000 lyrics. It's, the eyes of a young girl, the eyes of a young guy, it's this, it's that, it's all of these random words that make no sense. So I botched it, and then I go into an audition. The first audition I went to after acting school, because after 2 master's degrees and 15 years teaching, nothing makes your parents more excited than saying, I am enrolled in acting school. And so I go to acting school and I graduate acting school and I go on an audition for Rent, a regional production of Rent that was going to be done. And I said, I'm going to be Mark, the guy with the glasses, because he doesn't have to sing these songs and it will be great. I go to the audition and they say, will you be open to any other roles? And I said, yeah, I'll be in the ensemble. I'll be anything else. Sure. And then they called me back to be Roger with the audition song of One Song Glory. And then I thought, wow, I guess I'm supposed to just face this head on. So I studied the words and I don't know, did a lot of meditating and praying, and I booked it. And then for 3 months, I got to be Roger, and it was the hardest job for sure. It's not an easy show, but it was cathartic in a lot of ways.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
They say there's no second chances. But there are. I mean, if Garth Drabinsky can be producing musicals on Broadway again, just barely, and then you can go out of the thing and be in a hyperbaric chamber and dream of being on Broadway, and then
Right.
we're regional and touring and doing what you do with unfinished business, then there are second and even third. At some point, Will Smith will be giving honorary Oscars to people. We know this.
Absolutely. And I think people love, as long as you don't give up and you stay with it, as corny as it is, I think that's the point. And I love the idea of the album, not because I came up with it. And I just think that everybody, and I say this at the end of my show, everybody has something that they've been afraid to do that they want to do. It may not be about music or acting, or it could be, going on a date or learning how to go to the gym, lose weight, travel to Europe. Like
For me, anal. So there.
You're going to get me in trouble, because I will play right back with you and we're going to get into some, I'm going to play back. I was going to say giving or receiving, but it doesn't matter, right? Unfinished business. But on this holy Saturday morning, but so do it. We learned the past 2 years that we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So just go do it now. Finish the business. Well, I know what you're doing tonight.
I don't know. I'm still scared of it. I'll dip my toe in very carefully. Literally dip my toe in if my
toe is a toe.
Don't even know where I'm going with that. So let me ask you also, Robert Bannon. Or let's stay with the album and the show that
Sure.
We will talk, of course, Saturday Night Live, the elephant in the room, if you will. But unfinished business, people can get this at robertbannon.com and all the places that albums are sold. So the idea of unfinished business is coming back and doing all these things. It's Great American Songbook songs and theater songs. What's on there? Tell us.
It's the Great American Songbook songs. It's kind of put together like a song cycle. It tells my own story about trying to figure out who I am. There are songs that that are Great American Songbook songs, like All of Me and those Sinatra classics. There's also contemporary Great American Songbook songs. We never meant to do From a Distance, the Bette Midler cover that Julie Gold wrote the song. But then someone said to me, we did the album From a Distance. We recorded the album during the COVID. We were supposed to go in the studio March of 2020. And then obviously everything shut down. And they said, do you want to continue? And I said, can we do this virtually? I needed something very much like you, like something I want to be creative. I want to be artistic. I want to do something fun. So we did.
That's how I do circumcisions. I'm very, detailed. I
create it.
I make a design. Yeah.
Initials, dot every I, cross every T. I get it.
Yes.
So I did it. We did it all from home. So we did from a distance. It was supposed to be about like, it was a joke that we were doing the album from a distance. We made an arrangement, we recorded it. We asked people for videos of them, how they were celebrating each other through the COVID. And we put together a video and it got a bunch of views. And, it's just a mishmash of music. There's an original song that is like, I call it my pride anthem. It's called I Think He Knew. It's about a father and a son and their relationship when the son comes to terms with who he is and sexuality and all of that has spoken to hopefully somebody out there. So it's a labor of love, and it's a bunch of music that means a lot to me, and I'm really proud of it. So
but that brings up the other question that I'm always curious about. Was it easy, difficult for you to tell your parents? Did they know your sexual? I mean,
well,
I'm not outing you, but hello,
I'm out, and I'm pretty.
Yeah.
I do. I'll give you the real tea. I was married. I was married. I'll give you the real scoop. I was married, and I was with my ex-wife I wasn't married to her for this long, but we were together from when I felt better at 17 until 32. So I came out late in life.
Mazel tov. Did she have any? I forgive me if
Sure.
I'm taking too much.
No, please.
I do, and I have a Jewish nose, so yeah. But did she have any inkling when you were married that maybe you liked her? She was a nice lady, but
I loved her. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a good question. I don't, my whole life was very much defined by being bullied and teased about this. I remember the first time someone wrote about me on the bathroom wall, and it wasn't one of those for a good time call. It was not a nice word. It was really mean and nasty. In high school, I was very picked on. I was always the outcast. I'm the musical theater nerd. I was always one that was, in my 6th grade little school book, it was like my favorite actress is Barbara Streisand and my favorite movie is Funny Girl. So it wasn't like it was a big secret. but I met her at 16 when I was just getting better. I was working at the John Harms Center for the Arts, which is now Bergen Pack in Englewood, New Jersey, selling tickets. She was the box office manager. She was 21. And yes, older. She was Demi Moore before it was Demi Moore. It's the cougar life. And then I just decided that, I thought I did what I was supposed to do. I loved her. I still love her. She's my best friend, and I adore her. We didn't get divorced because of my sexuality. It was something that was very hidden and repressed, and I was very scared of it. And I just figured life would be so much easier if you find someone you love, regardless of their gender, and just stay with them. But the marriage was not the way it should have been. It was a best friendship. It was like a brother and a sister. It wasn't really, there was no fireworks, and it didn't feel romantic in that way. And I didn't even know that was a possibility.
The angle was missing. That one was the giving was there, the receiving was sort of there, but the angle was missing. I'm kidding.
But, touche. Now you get it. So you understand.
Certainly. But
you get it.
I don't even. So
coming out,
remain friends. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, we were great friends, and then at 32, I wrestled with it. I went to a lot of therapy. My therapist, thank God for teaching and insurance. My therapist probably bought a house on the Jersey Shore with my insurance checks. And then along the way, I've discovered, hey, it's time to tackle this and not be afraid of it anymore. And my parents were I'm very blessed and very lucky. My parents were really great about it. And I went through so much between the illness, between the divorce, which was not really great because, I was really codependent and only knew her, so it was the only thing a person I've ever been with. So when it didn't end, I didn't know what to do. And out of that mess and out of that disastrous ending became not only who I am and being able to live in my own truth, but also artistically, I was able to get back to doing this. So it all ends up the way it was supposed to be.
Now, can I ask you, is there a male person now in your life? Are you tinkering? What are you doing?
No, I've had a partner for the past few years, and thank you. And no, the online dating is, wow, I tried that. If you were with one person from 16 to 32, and then you try to know what it's like to date in like the 2020s. What is that? Do you know that people, and I don't know anything, I don't know, Rabbi, I'm trying to not, rabbis are married. I don't know if you are.
Several times at a time. I belong to or at least I'm trying to convince my wife that I should be married to several women at one time. It's just, we have 21 and a half children. We're very busy. Yes, but
I better get cable TV or YouTube TV or something. You date nowadays, and people like date multiple people. And I don't have time for what, and like, you casually date, you go to, I don't know, the Olive Garden on a Friday, and you go to, I don't know, hula hands on a Saturday and bowling on a Sunday. Who has time? I didn't want to get dressed up and do my hair at this time in the morning on a Saturday morning.
I apologize.
Never mind tonight, have to go meet a stranger and hear about their sister and their life story, and they're an accountant. Ugh, I've gotten too old.
And thank God you've met it. So can I ask, how did you meet the partner that you have been with all these years? I mean, is he in the theater or?
No, he's not in the theater, but he is an entertainer. He is a singer, and we met through mutual friends. And what's funny is the internet and social media, you follow people. So like after that, I want to follow you and you follow me, and then we keep up with each other. And I see you interview someone that's very famous and amazing, or, I'll go back and watch your Herman's Hermits interview, which I did this morning. And then Peter Noonan, and where was he going? Was he in a car? What was he doing? And then, what happened was and then you keep in touch. So me and we kept in touch when he was working and I was working. And then one day he just randomly FaceTimed me. Like I said, you could call me if you want, because we had kind of been talking and flirting and being cute and supportive of each other. And then he FaceTimed me, and I was like, what weirdo never calls someone or texts them? They just go right for the FaceTime. So me, I don't know. I don't avoid a red flag, I guess.
As it was. So, but let's also get back. We have Robert Bannon with us, by the way, which is lovely. Not only are we talking to you, but you're going to stay on and play the trivia game with David Stewart and Leslie Blake, so it's going to be fabulous. But want to now deal with the elephant in the room of the fact that you are on TV sets all over America, all over the world, every once in a while, several times a year, helping out, as it were, on Saturday Night Live. So please do tell the story of how you, as opposed to 20 million other people, get to be on SNL.
I, very much like everyone else that's in New York, I was trying to get work as an actor, and I was on all of the websites that try to get people acting, and I know, Backstage and Actors Access and all these websites that submit auditions. And I got an email through there saying, we would like you to come in we would like you to submit for Saturday Night Live. It was a weird email. Everything was lowercase. I thought it was spam. Like I thought if I sent my email back, they were going to say, give me your social security number and your bank account, and we'll put $1 million.
Forgive me for stopping you there, but wouldn't that just have come through your agent? Wouldn't the agent have said, oh, we got a message from Saturday Night Live, send me yours? Well, it's like a weird typewritten terrorist message or something. Truly
a terrorist message. Like you might as well just cut the letters out of a magazine and glue them on a piece of paper. I didn't have anybody. It was just me. I was just back, this was back 5 years ago. So it was just me trying to just get my own self out there before I was Equity, before I was in the SAG union, like anything. It was just me trying to doing regional or community. It wasn't even regional yet. Community theater productions around New Jersey, and they're great. And so I went, right, exactly. So I got this email. I looked her up. I Googled her name, and apparently she did work at NBC. And so I emailed her back and said, I grew up watching the show. I love the show. I will do anything to be on the show. And then she wrote me back and said, we can't use you because your hair is too long and it's to play a skinhead. And it's a featured part on a sketch called Welcome to the TSA. So we're sorry, we have to use someone else. So I wrote her back and said, I'll go to the Supercuts right now and shave my head if you tell me I can be on the show.
And she said, yeah. Didn't it occur to her that you could shave your head?
You would think so. You would think so. I mean, I guess people are particular about it, but my hair is not that long or that fancy. So like, what the hell do I care? So I just went to the Supercuts. She said the director hired you. I went to the Supercuts, and I said to her, because there's something about talking to people like a regular person. And I know like she could be the casting director at SNL, but she's still a human who is still trying to get through her day, and she has a job to do. So I just flat out asked for what I want. I just said, if I do this, will you make sure that I can be on the show again? Because this was for one of those like satire commercials that they film. I wanted to be at NBC. I wanted to be at Rockefeller Center. I wanted to be there at 11:30. I wanted to see the show live. So she said, yeah, of course, we hire people a lot to be different things. So I went in, I shaved my head. It's called Welcome to the TSA. It was during the years when there was a ban on people coming from Middle Eastern countries in the beginning of the Trump administration. And they were trying to show like I go in looking like a skinhead holding a garbage bag that looks like a giant gun, and they don't let me. Everyone else
through no problem,
and
but
everyone else gets a big X over their head, like no, no, no.
like black grandmothers are right?
And kids, little kids, and then me, goes right in. So, from there, I think I've done 20. I think the last time we counted 28, 29. So it's always a weird thing. So it's always a weird part. It's always, but they treat you really well there. They're very sweet there. I've gotten to play fake bass guitar with Kenan Thompson, and we did the set called Electric Shoes. Or I play violin with Jimmy Fallon and Harry Styles, which in like Civil War gear. They pay you to go there. It's amazing. It's bizarre, and sometimes you're lucky enough that it's all on. It's a viral thing, and people see it, and it's amazing.
Now, I've heard another interview with you where you talk about some of the guest stars, the big famous people, are very nice and they're very personable. Some others are a little more standoffish. So who's really, name some names, who's really nice, who's the tuchus hole? Come on.
There is a tuchus hole, speaking of anal. There is one. There's one I really didn't like, and I don't care, because what is she watch? She's gonna watch me talk? Like, who cares? Scarlett Johansson is not nice.
Nice. But she's Jewish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's Jewish with big tits. It doesn't get better than that. But yes. However, you had nice things to say about Gal Gadot. Aha.
Yes. Now, she spoke Israeli and or Hebrew. I don't know. What is it? What am I saying? Don't make me say the wrong thing. Yeah. She speaks Hebrew, and she had an assistant from Israel, and they were speaking together, and she was so nice and so tall and so beautiful and so lovely. And the sketch that me and her were in, I got cut, but it was just me, her, Leslie Jones, and one other woman. We were like sitting on a park bench, and she had a baby, and the baby was like spitting up on her, like milk and everything. And we just couldn't stop laughing. So it got cut from the show, but she was so sweet. But Scarlett Johansson made us all wait an hour, but she was an hour late. She wouldn't come out of her dressing room. When she came out of her dressing room, the cue card guy was like, "Excuse me, Miss Johansson, can you?" And she said, "Don't." And he tapped her, like touched her arm, and she had quite the little diva fit, and it was in front of everyone, and you don't make people wait, and you just try to be gracious. I understand she's super famous and a Marvel superhero and all that.
Every week they have someone on Saturday Night Live who's super famous. Fuck her. In fact, I would like to fuck her, but I'm not going to ever get to. But this is just a little joke there, a little comedy that we're doing here on. But can I ask you, when you do a Saturday Night Live bit, you get a script probably 2 hours before. How much can you memorize, or are you just reading from cue cards too? How does that work for you?
Well, they rehearse it on Thursday. They do a rehearsal on Thursday for half the show. They do a rehearsal on Friday for the other half of the show. But what happens is the show changes over and over and over again. So on Saturday, when you go in at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they start a rehearsal at 2 o'clock with real sets and real costumes and the whole shebang, like the real rehearsal, that script has changed again overnight. And with the news and whatever's going on, and then they do a dress rehearsal that runs like 2 hours and 15 minutes at 8 o'clock. When that ends at 10:15, then they edit the entire 2 hour show to an hour and a half. So the lines that people have learned and the jokes that have learned, or the opening, or all of the things get cut again. And what jokes don't work get rewritten. So a lot of the times at 10:30, you get a whole new set, a whole new rundown of sketches.
There's no point in memorizing. There's really you have to just sort of go with the cue cards.
Hence why they use the old school cue cards, because using a teleprompter, like they won't have time to fix all of the jokes. So it's old school, like handwritten cue cards held up next to the camera.
Who's your favorite Saturday Night Live performer to either work with or to be convivial with over the craft table, if you will?
I wish they ate the best with everybody more so. They're very sweet. Most of them are very sweet. Kenan Thompson is incredibly kind. He goes out of his way to say hello, good morning, how are you, what's your name, how are you doing? I've seen him talk to kids that were on set. I've seen him really chit chat with people. Everyone is pretty nice. Some people just, I guess, have their own process. They're more quiet than others, or they keep to themselves. But
I get that too. I mean, as long as they're not being rude.
No.
I get that too. They're going to go on the air live. They need time to.
Sure.
And I get that. But as long as they're not, nasty and like.
No.
Well, let me ask you. I would love to know, since you were a musical theater geek before you became a musical theater god, if you will. So, what was the first play or musical that you were ever in as a kinderlach, as maybe in junior high school or high school? Who were you and what did you do?
5th grade, the Roosevelt School, Richfield Park, New Jersey. I was the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz.
And did you love it? Did you wish you were the scarecrow? I mean, how was the experience for you?
I loved it. I wasn't good. I remember starting to sing and I heard kids laughing, which then made me tell my parents that I loved doing this and I wanted to do a better job. So I wanted to quit basketball and t-ball and baseball and all the sports that my parents put me in, thinking that's what you do with a son, and take musical theater class. So they brought me to the Bergen Mall in Paramus, New Jersey, and I joined a musical theater class. And then we started doing like mall Christmas shows. Like if you go to the mall at Christmas, they bring out the kids. But like mine was the perfect place for me. They put us in top hats and tails, and we didn't do Christmas songs. We did Broadway show tunes. So I started singing There's No Business Like Show Business at every mall in front of every Christmas display.
That's actually pretty great. You must have loved You really actually must have loved that.
No, I did. I really loved it. And that's how I got started. And then God bless that. Her name was Carol Naso. God bless her, because at some point she said, when I started to get better or got more comfortable with who I was in performing, she said, it's time for you to go somewhere else. So she recommended me for this place called the Boys Harbor Conservatory, the Harbor Conservatory, which is in New York. And I went there and went to an audition. My parents are not stage parents. They didn't know anything about show business. My dad's a landscaper. My mom was a hairdresser. Like we were not, up on the how to do this. So they brought me to an audition at Harbor Conservatory for Ain't Misbehavin', which apparently there's no role for me in that show.
No, I would
No. No
Although
roles.
now, where black people are playing white people's roles, you could get up there. You could do the Viper. You could,
Yes, it would be an interesting production.
Yes.
Sure. So they didn't hire me for that show, but they did tell me, would you like to start classes here? And then his name was Burton Rouser. He started the first kids musical theater program at Juilliard, and I was there. So I was a wild.
I'm sorry, but it didn't occur to me that if a white person were doing Ain't Misbehaving, it's like, your feet are too big. They are just too large, I'm afraid. It irritates me in the way that your feet are too. Yeah, no, just it yeah.
So that was but I loved it, and I did all the high school plays and all of the elementary school plays then, and anywhere.
Let me ask you, in doing, as you said, you went on to do some regional. You went down to Madison Square. What's the weirdest, funniest thing that ever happened to you while on stage in a show?
I did a production of The Music Man, my first equity job, The Music Man, in Sharon, Connecticut, at the Sharon Playhouse for one summer, where they hired these. I don't know where you are. You're in New York, and I don't want to offend anyone from Brooklyn. They hired one of these Brooklyn hipster directors who was working at the Bushwick Star, to do The Music Man. And her vision of The Music Man was to modernize it and to tell and arrest Harold Hill at the end.
Okay.
So
there is trouble in River City. Yeah.
We all had cell phones and electric fans, and Shapoopy was a disco song with a disco ball. And
please tell me someone videoed this.
Well, it got a lot of
watchable somewhere.
It has to. I hope so. I've never seen it. I'm scared to see it. But we opened, and then one of the board members of the Sharon Playhouse sent a letter to the estate of Meredith Willson, so appalled at this production, because they reorchestrated songs, they cut songs out.
Yeah.
So
you get shut down the day after opening night.
A cease and desist letter after opening night saying that we didn't take it back to the original. So the cell phones got axed, the fans got axed. So then they had to put in the songs, but the director was so offended that someone was ruining her artistic vision that she would make the songs that were cut. She would put the house lights on in the middle of the show, have the actor walk out with the music stand and say, this song is not supposed to be in our production, but we have to. She'd make an announcement. So it was the bizarrest production, the weirdest summer I have ever spent in my entire life.
Honestly, I would have loved to have seen that. I have to say, it's horrible because of the train wreck. It was, with all I'm sure you were great in it, but still. Yeah. No, you. No, you know what Robert Bannon is great in? He's going to be great on stage at the Green Room 42 next Shabbos, Saturday night. Go get the tickets. He'll be doing. I'm sorry, what?
It's literally Passover.
Oh my good. Are you gonna do any Jewish songs at all? Maybe in Irving Berlin.
There's like a little Streisand number, of course.
There you go. There you go. All right. What number is that?
We're doing Stony End because I'm doing this Laura Nero medley.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Because when you think of the opening line of Stony End is I was born from love. My poor mother worked the mine. I was raised on the book of Jesus, which is so perfect for Passover.
Perfect for Barbara Streisand. That's right. I'm just want to get in touch with the people who are going to be part of the game that you will be playing.
Yes.
With Dave and with.
I'm scared.
Yesterday they're not here yet, so we're gonna play for time a little bit, and which is great because I get to ask you more questions, but also tell people to go to Robert Bannon BANNON.com, and by all means, please do get his album Unfinished Business. What's the label on that?
It's called LML Records. They put out Leah Salonga. They put out Lee Lessick, who produced the album. He's a cabaret singer as well, and he owns the record label out in California. So Lee produced the album, and it's on LML Music.
LML Music. So let's hear a little bit of mine more. Claire, I would play some of your music, but then Facebook would throw me off for copyright
Absolutely.
things. Don't bother with that. But
we dare not pay me.
I just typed "it's Music" going on. I was trying to so let's get musical with me with some klezmer music because I've got to go. Unfortunately,
It was a pleasure.
Thank Robert Bannon so much. Even though you're a goy, even though you're raised Catholic, it's all right. I forgive you. And maybe tonight, as I said, maybe I'll dip 2 toes.
Two toes. That's it. Listen,
like
toe is a toe.
A toe is a toe.
$20 is $20. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you don't go away. Robert Bannon, you don't go away.
I'm not going anywhere.
I'm going away. I'll see. Have a happy Passover, everybody. Dave will be here in a moment to play the Today, Yesterday Trivia Quiz. Mwah!